Where did you withdraw from, and
Yeah.
what reason you had to withdraw?
I like your suggestion regarding the dictatorial situation. Now, I would like to contextualize a little bit the idea of the withdrawal within my position, because actually it was clear that my withdrawal didn't imply the withdrawal from the biennial, which is the Venice Biennial, the international show, which is put up and will be in display in June, but is the withdrawal within the national pavilion, which is the Italian pavilion. And this year, the Italian Pavilion is curated by Vittorio Sgarbi, which is rather a quite strange figure. I mean, he's an art critic, but he's mainly a TV showman, and is somebody that made his way into politics, and so has been in parliament many times. So it's a
And
figure.
he's connected to the actual government.
At the moment, yes, he has changed many times government. I mean, it's this kind of position that doesn't really define himself, if not into the.
And did you just withdraw, or did you make a kind of public message?
No, I made a public message, and I think the withdrawal was not the point of. I mean, it's like I think many artists withdrew this biennial, many Italian artists. But the point is that I think I was the only one which made public the withdrawal, and which made public the fact that was not only an artistic withdrawal, which was not only not taking part of the exhibition, but was a withdrawal from a condition in which, as you said, mainly a political one.
And how did you make that public?
I made it public just through my own page in Facebook, so it was really, in a way, private. Yeah, it was a kind of.
We make a lot of things public on Facebook, but so what happened? It really had an effect.
Yeah, it has an immediate effect, because of course it's like what we think is a private, but it's not. I mean, it just went into media immediately. And I think because it kind of broke this kind of silence that was related with this exhibition, and it's still on.
So there is it generated a lot of polemic.
Yeah, it generated polemics, and it generated a lot of comments, and it generated, in a way, a kind of consensus between artists. He made come up artists that also withdrew from the exhibition, and he also created, I think, something else, which is mainly the art public within Italy started to consider this exhibition not something to be supported. So I think that was
just the art public, or did you reach more people? Or did it reach?
I had a lot of course, a lot of comments also from normal. It went into media immediately, so it went into normal papers, national papers, and also like more. Like smaller papers, and it was commented a lot also on blogs. So of course, I had quite huge discussions.
So in this situation, withdrawal is effective. It has a form. It is some kind of. You said it's something that connects to society, to a political situation in Italy. But still, it is a form of visibility. There is a kind of you make it public, and it is perceived. Maybe not as an artwork or not as a work, but it's perceived as an action with a certain form.
I think it is a position. Is a position. Is not. I don't consider it as a part of my artist practice. It's not a work. It will not appear in catalogs. It will not be framed. It will not. It will not get into that system. So it's not considered as my art piece.
And don't you think it would be very interesting instead of withdrawing, because withdrawing is something that is, on the other hand, in the artistic realm, quite it's not a fashion, but there is a tradition of withdrawal that we just mentioned these people, and that what had no direct political motivations. But wouldn't it have been very interesting to formulate an alternative to the Italian pavilion?
I think that's, of course, that's always a possibility, and of course it came up, especially within the comments between the artists that were participating in the discussion. But I think for my position is at this moment uninteresting, because I think it's more interesting as I mean, it's interesting to actually put a position within the institution. So let's say, for example, creating an action within the biennial itself, and because then it will again become part of the same situation. So let's say having an action within the Italian pavilion again. But I think alternatives in the sense of putting another situation in place, that's, I think, is quite interesting. But at that moment, if it's connected with the withdrawal, I will only do it collectively. I'm not interested in putting up an individual action. I'm not interested in opposing myself towards the Italian pavilion.
Although it's not sure if it would have been interpreted like that. One of the ideas could be like you, because you said it yourself before in a conversation we had, that it's probably more and more needed that we work, it's not necessarily underground, but in alternative circuits in order to be able to present work, not to control its meaning and its output, but in order to kind of like present it in conditions that are not defavorable to the work you make. Because now, in fact, you're not present. Yep. You have a withdrawal. The withdrawal becomes something with a form, involuntary, and there is no alternative to that. And you said you want to, if you would have done that, you would have wanted to do that collectively. I think you started a project in that direction, but that
I checked the possibility of making something in that direction, but it didn't work out because I think it's not the condition. I mean, we have spoken before about this situation in which something has to be created, and I think it's the possibility of working collective between artists is something that you have to put in place, and not with an emergency situation. Not only, I mean, not always work. So it's.
Do you have like specific examples of what the condition is that you withdrew from? What is the kind of situation of? We know that this Scarby person is a media guy. Sometimes in parliament, connected sometimes.
I think the artistic situation is rather tragic in the sense that, of course, when he was appointed as curator, he had this idea, being an art critic from mainly masterpieces, I mean, from the 17th century, he had the idea to show this kind of paintings, and he has been also famous for hating contemporary art, so it's unclear why he was appointed as curator. But
may I then ask the question why you were selected?
Exactly. Yeah, I think just probably by name.
Okay.
It's a situation in which probably people are not really professional, so they just delegates, and by delegating other people, they get answers that maybe are within the art world. So that's what happened. And but the situation is at the moment that is because many artists withdrew. Actually, the Italian pavilion was one of the few pavilions, I think, together with Egypt, that was not presented at the press conference because they didn't know still what to organize for it. So it was still in a kind of confusion, chaos situation. And I think now is going rather for a situation in which they try to collect as much as consensus as possible. So they are planning an exhibition with 1,200 artists. But they still don't know who are the artists. So it's just trying to organize as many artists as possible, as many exhibitions as possible. So will also not only be Venice, but will be regional exhibition within every region. And they want also international exhibition. But up to now, they still don't know how and when and with which artist and how to organize it. So that's the up-to-date kind of situation.
Okay.
May I have a question?
Yes, go ahead.
There is a difference between not accepting and withdrawing. Did you not accept, or did you accept and withdraw? You are not the other artist. What's the difference for you politically on that?
Yeah, I refused. I mean, there were various steps in the sense that I was basically called on my mobile phone, and then at that moment I kind of had the dialogue in the sense, okay, what is this exhibition? What are you organizing? And then I basically said my research and my kind of work doesn't fit. But then I received a formal letter, and that's, of course, I reply with a refuse. And in the middle of this, there was also my public announcement that I will withdraw. Naturally, in the announcement, what I did, I also call, in a certain sense, for other artists to do the same. So it was, I think that's what make everybody really angry. It's like you just go for your own. Just don't try to convince other people, or at least don't make it public. Just was.
And did you have any idea when you put this on Facebook that it would have the repercussions that it did?
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You predicted it.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's rather interesting what has kind of increased the stakes so much, because I've been thinking about exactly the same thing. I don't think I've ever withdrawn from really anything. There are many parties I haven't been invited to. But on some occasions when I have been invited to parties, I just couldn't make it, or had to politely say no, or just sort of, got too drunk in the pub beforehand to show up. And there is a whole kind of range of positions, of possible positions.
Yeah.
And what I'm interested in is that we are talking in terms of the kind of very politicized, very visible, very in-your-face extreme, which seems to have been introduced with this kind of massive refusal at Documenta 5 by rather prominent artists to participate, rather than talking about forms of perhaps something closer to passive resistance, when you just go and say, stuff your exhibition, I'm not interested. What is this,
So,
why are we using this loaded sort of terminology of withdrawal? What is it that is kind of, how does it, I'm just, in a way I'm re-articulating the same question, but what is it that makes it necessary for us to think that we have to actually, turn the invitation down with that sort of strong gesture?
I think it's really important. I think it's the first step to say, I'm not in it. And it's just, I'm not in it because of artist position. I mean, I withdraw from other things, so I refuse other things which are related with prices. I didn't understand, or they were funding in a strange way.
Withdrawal is a little bit like burning the draft papers or something. You are summoned to sort of perform certain function or supply certain kind of work. It appears that you sort of accept that as a given, that you are in, and you extract yourself out.
That's quite interesting, because actually before having the invitation, I received emails saying, "Oh, congratulations!" Also from whatever galleries and prominent people. Congratulations, you are in the Venice Biennial. So actually, there is also this position in which the artist is not even asked. They have to be in it. I mean, nobody think that you have an opinion about it.
And in this sense, the withdrawal is not having this dramatic weight. It's just kind of like a very pragmatic reaction, because you don't want to participate under these conditions in an art show. I would like to move the discussion to the far left, to Mr. Langa. Having participated in so many biennials, I don't know of any of them you would have withdrawn. But at the same time, I know you were not always that happy with the showing conditions of those biennials.
Well,
Close. Yeah.
Hello. Hey. I think probably I would, if I was given a chance again, withdrawn from the previous Biennale of Venice, for just very practical reasons, because you get invited, you have to, it feels like a great honor to be a part of such a wonderful manifestation. But then you are basically left on your own to arrange everything. And as a younger artist, you actually don't get any practical attention to help you to do what you need to do. It's very warm. You are in Arsenale or wherever it is. You are not allowed to do anything on your own, because there is protocol to having someone to clean this bit of the floor which you need, or to move something. And it costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of time. And, and then in the end, it's just a kind of a stampede. And I think that, in the first Biennale I was involved with was actually in Cuba in 1997, where I met Tanya.